Tonight's Grammy Awards in Los Angeles will have a bit of an Academy Awards feel. The song Shallow from the movie A Star is Born, performed by Bradley Cooper as his character Jackson Maine and Lady Gaga as Ally, is nominated for 4 Grammys, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year. This morning, 4 months after the release of the film, Shallow is the #2 song on the iTunes chart, and the soundtrack is the #2 album. 2 weeks from tonight, A Star is Born is up for 8 Oscars, including Best Picture. Cooper and Gaga both are nominated for the lead acting awards. The modern reimagining of a movie made famous by the likes of Judy Garland and Barbra Streisand has been years in the making for Cooper, who makes his debut as a director. Bradley and I got together here in New York for a Sunday sit-down. I know there are people around you, though, who said, love that you want to be a director, go for it, but man, don't start with something this ambitious where you're starring, you're directing. Yeah, I was one of them. Are you crazy? Did you ever listen to those voices and say, maybe this isn't the place to start as a director?
I mean, I certainly listened to them. I took it in. But in a way, maybe that even allowed me to persevere more. There was a bunch of directors that I've always dreamt of working with, and they just weren't asking me to do movies with them. So it's like I'm 40 and I keep waiting. And that was part of what sort of prompted me, or I wouldn't say prompted me, encouraged me out of frustration almost to say, I got to do it myself.
Maybe it's time to let the old ways down.
Once Bradley Cooper decided to create a new version of an old classic in A Star is Born, he needed a star.
Her singing's like a nuclear weapon. And then now learning about her energy and who she is just when she walks in a room, well, I just felt like I hit a gold mine.
But there's a big leap from your reaction to it to her, who's never starred in a major motion picture before, taking on that project.
And so that's the second step, which was then meeting her at her house and talking to her. And right away, I just thought, that's it. If I could just get her to be as open and as free and warm as she is right now, infused into Ally, I think we'll be okay. I remember the first time we were singing the song "Dig in My Grave." We started singing, and I could, it didn't sound horrible. And I thought, okay, this is working.
Cooper was not the only one who thought it was working. Steven Spielberg was a mentor on the movie. The legendary filmmaker presented Cooper with a Best Director award at the recent National Board of Review Gala.
A Star is Born is not just a culmination of his work, but it's something much more exciting. It's a beginning.
I was actually in the wings with him when he went up and he was talking about you, and he said, I knew immediately with Bradley. He said, I've seen the screen test.
He was actually one of the people that encouraged me to go for it.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he tell you?
I just said, he said, you have to see it through.
Part of seeing it through meant becoming a convincing professional musician. A year of vocal, guitar, and piano lessons got Cooper in shape to hold his own on stage with Lady Gaga.
I always kind of thought maybe I could play a musician, just based on the fact of all of these sort of rock stars that I'd sort of idolized as a kid, and my father playing me so much music, loving music.
It's time to testify.
The 44-year-old Cooper grew up outside Philadelphia in a tight-knit family. His father was a stockbroker. His mother worked for a local TV station. Cooper graduated with honors from Georgetown University, then earned his master's degree from the Actors Studio in New York.
How you doing, Mr. De Niro? My name is Bradley Cooper. My question is regarding Awakening. You need a light?
After breaking in with a small role on Sex and the City, Cooper moved to Los Angeles, and in 2001, got his first big break on the series Alias, alongside Jennifer Garner.
Oh man, PJ, we made it. And you are?
We're the next big thing.
In 2005, Cooper played the memorably arrogant Sack Lodge in the hit movie Wedding Crashers.
Big tree fall hard, right?
The trajectory of Cooper's career changed in 2009 when he starred in the blockbuster movie The Hangover. With its 2 sequels, the Hangover franchise has grossed well over $1 billion at the box office.
Alan! You get it?
What did The Hangover do for you? What doors did it open?
First of all, financially, it was like the idea of making money like that blew me away.
Right.
I think without that, there's no way that people would have taken a chance.
Even with the success of The Hangover, Cooper needed an assist from a Hollywood icon to close the deal on his next big role in the thriller Limitless. You had to sell that a little bit to one of your heroes,
To Robert De Niro. Yeah, they weren't going to make the movie unless there was another name, and or a name, because I wasn't even really a name. And I kept thinking, oh, Robert De Niro would be great for this. So I went to his hotel room and pitched it to him, and yeah, it was crazy.
So you walk into De Niro's hotel room, this guy, the poster on the wall,
Yeah,
and you're like, hey.
I mean, I didn't have his poster on my wall.
You know, figuratively. That'd be a little weird, I guess.
No, I mean,
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't really
Raging
have
Bull,
posters on my
maybe.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, pennants.
Right.
The Phillies.
Yeah,
and the
Eagles. One of your heroes, though, and you have the job of convincing him to take a role.
He called his agent right away and said, I want to do the movie.
I'm not doing the dance. I'm out.
The next year, Cooper teamed with De Niro again, playing the bipolar Pat Solitano in Silver Linings Playbook. The performance earned Cooper his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. In 2014, he was nominated for another Oscar for his role as a con man in American Hustle.
You're gonna do this because you got no choice. You work for me.
A year later, another Best Actor Academy Award nomination and a $500 million box office for his portrayal of real-life Navy SEAL Chris Kyle in the biographical war drama American Sniper.
You got eyes on this? Can you confirm?
Cooper has a young daughter with his partner, model Irina Shayk. But his biggest fan always has been his mother, Gloria. What does your mom think about the success of Star is Born and what's happening right now?
You know, my mom's funny because she always thinks everything is going to be a huge hit.
That's what moms do.
You know, and I'm always like, Mom, no, this one's not going to work. She's like, no, Bradley, no, I'm telling you. I'm like, Mom, it's not going to work, you know what I mean? And so she started being like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, she would think. So now she does it with caution, which I kind of dig, man.
Right.
She's like, I don't know, it's tough out there.
She's flipped on you.
But she's still, but yeah, she's definitely like it did a total 180.
In 2011, just as Cooper's career was taking off, his beloved father Charlie died after a long fight with cancer. Do you think about, and I know you do, what your dad would think about where you are in your career right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
What do you think he's thinking?
I don't know, man. Yeah, you know, it's part of life. Yeah.
Who's your guy?
Yeah.
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 Bradley's father is undoubtedly proud of a son who is making the kind of movies his dad taught him to love.
You know, this business is so hard and so often things don't work. So when things work, it's like, you just have to make sure to take it in. That's the thing I keep telling myself. It's just like, oh, make sure to just take it in.
Bradley says studios were very skeptical of his idea to bring A Star is Born back to life. Well, in addition to those 8 Oscar nominations, the movie now has made more than $400 million at the box office so far. Our thanks to Casa Apici for hosting that conversation, and to hear Bradley lay out the pitch he made to Lady Gaga to put her music career on hold and make that leap into her first ever big role in a movie. Check out our web extras at today.com/Sunday. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Sit Down podcast to hear the entire unedited interview with Bradley. You can find it for free on Apple Podcasts.